clamoring. It feels great. I will say that. It's interesting that a lot of fans that were not necessarily there during those years, are coming out now, and in sort of a nostalgic way, they're learning about those time periods in wrestling, and it's great to be a part of, and it's great to meet the new fans and all the fans really. But yeah, they're coming out in force. They want to learn about the history of wrestling more and more, it seems, these days. So that is really exciting. And yeah, I enjoy doing these conventions and stuff.
Have you ever like what was the most emotional time that you met a fan? Like, did you ever have a fan say, "Hey, look, you changed my life," or anything to that level?
Yes, there have been actually situations. Another podcast that I do on Friday is called the Recovery Podcast. It's to help individuals with a lot of the time with substance abuse issues and things like that. And from time to time, people will get in touch with me and they'll say, "Look, you pulled me out of that dark place, and I really appreciate it. You know, your positive outlook and your kind of motivation has got me going in the right direction, and I've been off of drugs for X amount of time, and that's always good to hear because it's just such a miserable existence that it was really good to be able to affect people in that way. That is a great feeling. And also, sometimes people come up and just talk about what they remember about my career back in those days, or somebody that I wrestled, and they'll pull out these little kind of points and little specifics about a situation, and I'll be amazed. I'll be, "You remember that?"
Mm.
It's like, yes, it's like these little things. So people really, you know, when you're in the middle of it, oftentimes when you're in a position of being like an opening card or mid card type wrestler, you don't necessarily feel like maybe the fans are really attaching to you as a talent or a superstar. You're like, well, yeah, I'm one of the guys, but I'm not one of the top guys that they, really love to come watch. But then here we are, almost 30 years later, and people will come up and talk to me about things that I did, during my wrestling career, and I'm just amazed. Sometimes I'm stunned that they were really paying that close attention and they cared that much. That means a lot.
It's amazing,
Yeah.
and it must be an incredible feeling.
Yeah.
Not to go to the negative, but I think we should talk about it because we come out the other side
Sure.
eventually. Obviously, you were an athlete, huge man, great shape. How does a guy with the talents of yourself fall down that rabbit hole of addiction?
Man, I'll tell you what, it's back in those days when we were wrestling in the early to mid 90s. It was difficult because number one, it was long road trips. You were on the road for long periods of time, and you were killing yourself for very little money. There was not a lot of money in the business during the new generation era, um and you get injured, and the unspoken rule is, if you get hurt, don't tell nobody,
Mm.
because you're gonna get, if you're taken off the road, you're not, if you're not wrestling, you're not making money back then. And because there weren't a lot of guaranteed contracts really at all then. And you start to get wrapped up in, when you start to get a little bit more serious injuries, then you start to self-medicate, and you get I mean, any professional wrestler will tell you we could all walk into a doctor's office tomorrow and let them x-ray our spines and our hips and our shoulders and get put on 10 different types of painkillers. That there's no doubt, because we look like we've been in a car accident, 50 times over. So if you allow it to happen, you can get sucked into that lifestyle where you feel like you need something, which is a narcotic, to feel good enough to do your job. And then it becomes, you need something to go work out hard, like you know you need to work out in the gym, and then go and you need something to get in the ring and wrestle. And then it becomes you need something just to get out of bed to be able to start the day, and then again to go to the gym, and again to go to the gym. And then it becomes you need something to help you go to sleep and start all over tomorrow. And it becomes this vicious cycle. And the only thing that kept me hanging on as long as I did while I was still in the business was you know, the organization of it all. It's like you have to be here to wrestle this. You got to get on this loop. You got to get a rental car. You got to show up at this building and do these promos, and all of that stuff kept me. It was regimented, and it kept me in a routine. So I was functioning, as they say. But then as soon as it was gone, because it got to the point where it got so out of hand that my behavior was becoming very erratic, and I was saying stupid things like to Vince and how unhappy I was, and I was frustrated. And so when they ended up sending me home, boy, you could the reins were dropped and the horses were free, and it was nonstop, and it just snowballed, and it became a massive problem. And yeah, it was 1996, I went home. 2003, I moved to Tennessee from Miami, Florida. I moved to Tennessee and went to rehab the first time. And that long I was in the hole. Yeah, from 96 to 2003, I was in this pit of hell of just every day. I once heard Scott Hall say this on that 30 for 30 special he did. He goes, I'm not going to say drugs aren't fun, because, in the beginning, drugs are fun.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of aspects of it, and parts of it is fun, but then it gets to the point where you have to have it. You cannot go without it. You need it just to feel normal, and that's where the illness, the sickness comes in, and it's just a miserable existence. And it was. And that's how I kind of went down that, as you said, the rabbit hole. It just spiraled out of control. And I'm one of the lucky ones, because a lot of my former coworkers are no longer with us because of those same problems.
Right.
So, yeah, I've been very fortunate in that respect. Unfortunately, I didn't fully get it. I made it like 7 years clean, and because of a foot injury, I relapsed and went so deep so fast that I got in trouble with the law. And when I got arrested, which was 2013, when I got arrested, that's when I realized something has to change, because I lost everything again. And you lose everything over and over and over, and the people you love start to move away from you, and you lose the things that you worked so hard for. And by 2013, I was a school teacher, and I was really good at it. And when I started taking painkillers because of a foot injury, it was over.
Lost it all.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but yeah, I caught charges and got felony convictions, and I just decided, I'm going to go to rehab and get off of drugs, physically clean and sober, and then I'm going to do everything I could possibly do from that point forward to stay clean and sober and learn everything about this, so I can function and maintain every day and work on it. Because the first time around when I got clean, I was clean physically, and I said, okay, I'm good now. I'm going to go work on getting a new career, which is what I did. And I didn't think about addiction issues ever again. That's a mistake. See, any addict in recovery will tell you, we have to maintain on a daily basis somehow. And it doesn't have to be a battle. It doesn't have to be difficult, but you do have to maintain it. And a big part of what I do now is I work with other people who are going through the same situation. And with the court systems where I live, I work for what's called a drug court, or a recovery court, and a mental health court. And we just try to offer something other than just locking people up. Help, And that's become my passion in life. I never thought I'd have another passion in life after wrestling, but I found one, because, the whole process of getting clean and sober it showed me that happiness is possible in life. You don't have to stay stuck. You know, there's always hope. You just have to open your mouth and ask for help. And that's what I try to teach people every day, man. It's just become my life.